Today we're going to talk about managing your emotions for peak performance in athletics. And this is based off some psychological research known as the Yerkes-Dodson Law. And basically what this Yerkes-Dodson Law says is that there is an inverted U to describe the relationship between performance in a task and what we call your optimal level of arousal. And the idea here, and you can see it on the graph, is that our performance is at our best when our arousal level is moderate. Too much arousal, we're too excited, we're too nervous, we're too overstimulated, is going to have a negative impact on our performance. But also being not aroused enough, meaning we're bored, we're disinterested, we're not being challenged, is also going to lead to poor performance as well. So we really want to try and find that sweet spot, that middle ground area where we feel mentally sharp, but relaxed, excited, but not overly anxious. It's a challenging balance to find, but that is where we're going to see peak performance in an athletic endeavor. It's also a really individualized experience. Some people are going to find that they need a little less arousal. Maybe people who are naturally more anxious or get nervous are going to need to find ways to stay more calm when it comes to their athletic performance. Others really need to amp themselves up for competitions. They need a lot of excitement and noise and energy brought forward, and that's where they see their performance rise as well. It also varies based on task difficulty. If you're doing something that requires a lot of focus and a lot of attention, you might need less external stimulation in order to be successful at it. Think about when you need to block out all distractions in order to really stay focused on accomplishing your goals. And maybe something that's a little bit easier, you can have more background, you can have more external stimulation taking place. Think about figuring out a really difficult math problem that requires all your focus and attention versus maybe doing some really simple addition problems that you could probably do while watching TV and listening to music. Different tasks require a different level of cognitive stimulation, and the same applies for the different tasks that you engage in athletics. Some require more focus, some you can get away with less and still be able to perform at your peak. So the first step is really an individual experience. You need to decide and determine for yourself where is your peak level of performance? Where is your peak level of arousal? And again, this might be slightly different for every person on a team, but perhaps reflect on some of your best performances, on some of your greatest achievements. How did you feel during that time? What were you thinking about during that time? It can help to create a clearer picture of what you need for peak performance in athletics. And if you find yourself becoming easily overwhelmed, your emotions get the better of you, there are some things that you can do to try and help keep those emotions in check to stay in that moderate arousal level. The first one is establishing routines. Routines are fantastic because they give you something to focus on so your mind doesn't get away from you thinking about something that's going to happen 5 innings in the future, or your next at bat, or your next shot, or your last shot. Being able to have routines keep you in the present moment and help to keep your emotions in check. Think about the very next thing you need to do. If you have a pre-game routine, if you have a pre-shot routine, if you have a pre-pitching routine, whatever it might be, doing that before you take your next shot or do your next move allows you to think one step at a time. What's the next thing I need to do? Okay, and then what's the next thing I need to do? And then what's the next thing I need to do? By doing that every single time, it keeps you thinking about what you're doing right now instead of what is the outcome going to look like or what happened in the last one, especially if it did not go well. Breathing also helps a lot. Closing your eyes and taking a few deep breaths when you start to feel your emotions or your thoughts get out of control, focusing on your breath also brings your attention back to the present. Because if you are counting breaths, or if you are counting the amount of time it takes to breathe in and breathe out, it's a lot harder to be thinking about everything else that's going on around you. So if you feel yourself getting nervous, getting excited, getting overly aroused, try to take some time and look inward and take some deep breaths to help recenter yourself. Visualization is another really successful tool. Instead of thinking about what happened last time or what could happen 10 frames from now, focusing on your shot right now helps you think about the cues that allow you to be successful in your shots and can actually help you be more successful in each subsequent shot that follows. As hard as it may be, also try to focus only on those things that you can control. Again, in athletics, there are a lot of things that can get away from us when we start to focus on and obsess about things that we have no personal control over. Things that other people say, things that other people do, things that happen, lane conditions, field conditions that we can't change and we can't alter. By focusing and ruminating on them, it can allow our emotions to get the better of us, and there's no productivity that's taking place there. That being said, going along with that next one, that positivity pillar. View those challenges as opportunities to improve. What can this teach us? How can we make sure that we get better at this situation in case it comes up again? And again, try to find your peak arousal. If you find yourself and your teammates going to the other side of the arousal scale, getting quiet, getting tired, try to work together to keep those energy levels up so that you can maintain that moderate peak level of arousal that is so necessary to peak performance. So try to figure out what your peak arousal level is and work to stay present and focused in competitions. I know it's not as easy as it sounds, but just like any mechanics, the more we practice this, the better we will get at it, and you will find success every time you step out onto the field, step out onto the court, or step onto the lanes.